everybody. We are in a different room.
Different room.
A different room.
It's a different kind of day today.
Take some time, get comfortable in the different room. I know it's disorienting.
We don't want to throw too many crazy things at you at one time, but it is about to get wild in here.
Wild and wacky. No one's here.
They're here. We just have the
I
lag.
know.
It's the lag.
I know, but I don't believe in what I cannot see.
We have to trust.
Just my entire worldview is based on things I cannot see.
Some of you may have heard, because it's not a surprise, but we're doing a surprising thing today.
Yes.
We got
look at all the peoples.
All the peoples, they're there.
Okay.
Hello, collectively. I'm going to go away because what we have coming up for you on the gathering room is your friend, my friend, her friend,
everyone's friend,
Liz Gilbert.
Yeah. Otherwise, Luz Gilbert.
Ooh, it's me.
Luz,
it's me, everyone's friend.
L-U-Z.
It's me,
everyone's friend. Luz Gilbert, everyone's friend.
This is Marty the best.
Yeah.
And Rowie the also best.
Look, because Luz Gilbert is here, we have like 800 people in the first second. So that's great.
Hi, everybody.
Look, they're coming in from Dallas, Alaska.
Hello, Fort Worth, Florida.
I know, it's so exciting. I should call them by name. Instead, I call them by place. It's like, whoo, somebody's from
Esperanto, California, where they don't speak English. They just speak that language.
They just speak that language. Oh, Ontario. I think we're there. We're okay.
Do we wait till we have a hundo?
But we have 2 hundo and something already. So okay, so I just want to continue the conversation we were ordinarily having in our ordinary way. And the conversation was this: God, how we hate ourselves.
I'm history's greatest monster.
Yay! It's weird because we don't hate ourselves, and yet we sort of do.
Yeah.
And you were telling me
that
you get up in the morning and you're like, ooh, I checked Instagram before I meditated.
Bad, worst person, history's greatest monster.
Yes, you're saying more out there.
Yeah, so it's just like what I was saying to Marty. She said, what do you want to talk about today? I said, I want to talk about this awareness that I have lately, where I'm really making myself be aware of how many times a day and how many completely mundane incidences I tell myself that I am bad. The word bad, like, oh, I read a novel for an hour instead of responding to those work emails. Bad. You know, I ate only half the yogurt and threw it away, wasted the food, and maybe didn't recycle the container correctly. Bad. Stayed in bed till I didn't meditate.
Know.
Bad,
known all these things, I'm not sure that I would have invited you to.
Those are just, I know. Because
the badness.
The bads.
The badness.
Those are just the little bads, but there's literally hundreds of them a day. And then the big bads come of like, oh, I got divorced.
Ooh, me too.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, there was somebody in my life and I couldn't bear them and deal with them, and so I ghosted them. Bad. So I just wanted to turn it over to Marty to explain to us from her brilliant perspective why we do this to ourselves.
Well, I've been reading about this a lot because I'm writing about, in my book, about attack, our tendency to attack mentally. And it's talking about Dante and the violence that people go through in the Inferno. And he talks about being violent against others, the self, and the way things are. So in this case, we have somebody who's violent against the self, me too. And I've been thinking and thinking, why is the ego positions itself against? The ego, it always defines itself as separate.
Right.
So its whole thing is, I'm separate, I must remain the way I am, and I must not change, because if I change, the ego is like a clenched fist. A clenched mind is like a clenched fist. If you open it, you can do all kinds of things with it, but it ceases to exist. So it doesn't want to change. And so it strongly positions itself against things, and it gets a charge of being separate and the same. Like, I am right. So the ego's message is, I'm never free, but I'm always right. And
that's literally the definition of hell.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I thought, well, the truth of it is actually the other way. I'm not always right, but I'm always free. Right. So what are we free to do? And I realized that what we're free to do is to access something that I'm calling the inner teacher. That's a phrase I took from Nisargadatta Maharaj. And the inner teacher is the part of you that resonates to this sentence. Wait, I'm going to show you the opposite first. So say, I should always meditate every single morning.
Never check my Instagram while I'm still in
Never.
bed
Okay,
so
so
that makes me bad.
So you feel the energy of
Yep.
the righteous mind, the judging mind.
Right.
Okay. Now try this statement. I am meant to live in peace. And just say that.
Oh, I am meant to live in peace.
Okay, find the part of you that knows that.
Got it.
Can you feel it?
Yep.
Okay. So the part of you that's judging is telling you all day long, do it this way, meditate better, don't read a novel. Okay.
Right.
Now, instead of that, you're going to take your eyes off all the things you do that are bad, supposedly. You're going to find the inner teacher, the one that knows you're meant to live in peace. And then you're going to wake up in the morning. So imagine yourself waking up when you looked at the Instagram instead of meditating.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of checking the Instagram or meditating, you go first to the inner teacher. What is my next piece? What would help me live in peace right now?
Right.
And what happens is you're always free to access the inner teacher, but you're not, nothing is always right.
Right.
So where the righteous mind is very absolute,
Right.
the inner teacher is completely particular. It's always existing in perpetual creative response to whatever is present.
In that exact moment.
Yeah, and it has no
So it doesn't
rules
have like
whatsoever.
a massive book of law.
No, there's no bad or good. There's
Right.
only this situation
Right.
here.
Right.
And what is the next step into peace? From peace into peace. And you might do things, I was thinking about this, how that is why I left my religion.
Right.
I remember going and being an expert witness for a plaintiff who'd been sexually abused and really going into this thing that was quite combative and everything. And the whole time the lawyers for the defense would batter me in this deposition. And they'd say, you're really just an angry woman who's out to get the Mormon church for sexual abuse issues. And I would say, just a second, hang on. And so instead of listening to them or going at them, I was going into the place that the part of me that lives in peace. And I would say,
What next?
okay. No, it's a good question. You make an interesting
You raise a strong point.
but I'm
sir.
not finding it here. I'm
Yeah.
not finding that anger. What's your next question?
Uh-huh.
And so there was a badness that whenever you find something that says you're bad and you're
Yeah.
pushing against it, what you do, as it says in the Tao Te Ching, you give evil nothing to resist, and so it disappears by itself.
Uh-huh.
So if you go to your badness, like, can you find it right now?
Yes.
What does it make you want to do?
You mean in this exact moment?
Yeah, like there's a resistance in you. When
Right.
you feel the badness, it creates these tensions and
It
anxieties.
wants me to live by stronger rules.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wants more dogma. It wants a strong leader.
It wants a strong leader.
Watch out. It wants a strong dictator to enforce martial law.
And where does it live in your body?
Right here.
And what is the sensation?
Clenched, hard fist.
Mhm. So with that still there, find the part of you that is saying always, it's always saying it. I'm meant to live in peace. I am peace. I'm meant to live in peace. This is what I am. I can't be anything other than peace.
Right?
What happens to the need for a strong ruler?
Dissolves.
Yeah. So it's like, it basically boils down to you're looking outward at the things around you and your own behavior,
Mhm.
and you're always positioned against everything. And when you stop and look inward, you stop separating self from world and you become what you're looking at, and everything just goes, and you can no longer find the thing you were meant to oppose.
Mhm.
So it's the answer to violence is always not like, do you go out and oppose what you think is wrong in the world? No, you go inward, you find your inner teacher, and you say, what's the next step toward peace? And it could be a very active thing. You could join the army
Mhm.
and go to war based on that's what my inner teacher says is going to bring me peace. But in terms of the conflict itself, it cannot survive if you're always turning inward to the teacher.
This is so interesting because thank you, Marty. That is amazing. Martha
We
Beck,
didn't
ladies
know
and
if that would
gentlemen.
work. I mean, it's
Um,
not like we practiced this. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's something that a meditation teacher in India years ago taught me, which I think aligns with this. And part of the reason that it's so seductive to believe the voice that says you're bad, bad, bad is because we're accustomed to, there's a little small earthquake here. Sorry for the jitters. We're accustomed to there being these two competing voices in our head. And one is this terrified child who can't quite do anything right and doesn't know how things work and is very scared and makes a lot of mistakes. And the other one is the older judge who comes in and says, look, you keep fucking up.
Right.
If you don't stop overeating, you are going to get diabetes. You cannot smoke like this anymore. You cannot stay up all night watching TV. You have to get 8 hours of sleep. And the reason that it sounds so convincing is because it has a point. It seems like it's right. Because certainly if I keep eating like this, I am going to get diabetes. If I keep screwing up my relationships, I am going to be unhappy. If I only stay in bed reading Instagram. So that childish terror believes this older seeming voice and says like, oh, you're right. But what's happening is that it's taken me years to learn there's another one beyond that. So we've got this child who keeps making mistakes. We've got this critical judge who seems to have all the answers. But then above that, there's this very maternal thing that envelops all of them, which is what I tend to go to when I'm panicking, that just says, oh, I love you both. I love you both, and actually neither one of you have the first idea what's going on here.
Aww.
Neither one of you have the first idea what's going on here, so why doesn't everybody just relax? And then it starts to be better.
I used to call this the dictator and the wild child, that you have inside you, this little, like, filthy jungle baby who was raised by wolves going, I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And then inside you also have this military dictator with a gun and a whip going, you better do what I'm telling you to. And actually both of them are well-intentioned and both of them are exhausted. So I used to do this exercise where you hold one in each hand as a little tiny person and you look at them and you do a little loving kindness meditation. So you picture them both. There's a little wild child in all rags and tatters. There's the dictator with the military uniform, and you go, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be free from suffering, may you be well, may you be happy may you be free from suffering. And the wild child goes, and stops like clawing, and the dictator like drops the gun and just goes, oh my God,
I don't have to be in charge anymore.
Exactly. And then the question is, if you've got both of them in front of you and you're offering them both good wishes, who are you? Because you're not either one. And what you become is that huge enveloping maternal force. Yeah. It's very sweet.
The internal mother love.
It's two different ways. For me, it's like if I there's that overarching thing, but then there's also this thing in the very center. And when I turn in toward that, like when I meditate, I'm just watching my own psyche, my mind, my consciousness. And what happens when I ask it for the next set of directions is literally nothing that I've been fighting comes into my mind. I was talking today with somebody who has a problem with certain political figures. I said, imagine that political figure on the screen in front of you. And she was like, argh!
I cannot imagine who you're talking about.
Nor can I. And I've forgotten it completely. And then I said, now find the part of you that knows you are meant to live in peace. And it's a search. The thing is, it takes a while.
Right.
It's not like you can just trigger it. You actually have to go in looking for it. And while she was doing that, I said, now what's happened to the guy on the screen? And she was like, he doesn't even matter. So there's the inner bad person that you can love into harmony. But then there's also this way of making all the bad guys vanish in this strange way. And your inner guide might take you to places where you save the world or, but you're not actually looking at them anymore. Right. You're actually just looking, your eyes are watching God all the time, and it's in the center of you. So there's different ways. There are different ways of imagining it, but I think we're going toward the same basic answer, which is no.
Well, also that any voice that tells you that you are a failure and a loser and a disgrace and history's greatest monster, hint, it's not it. It's not the highest voice that is available. It just isn't. It will try to convince you that it is, even if it has some points that are accurate.
But it never does.
But it never
Here's the
does.
thing. No absolute point is ever true. There is no rule you can give anyone that will always be true.
Mm.
You must never hurt anyone. Okay, well, what if you're trying to locate their shoulder and it's been dislocated? Oh, well, then you should hurt. Okay, so now we have to make special rules for when it's okay to hurt.
Right.
But the interesting thing about going to peace and asking what the next peaceful step is, that it might break the rules at any moment.
Right. Because it doesn't live in rules.
No, it doesn't know gay, straight. It says, now you're with the man, now you're with the woman, now you're with the man, now it's whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't know, it can change your own gender. Now you feel like a woman, now you feel like a man, now you feel like you have no gender, now you feel like you're both genders. Okay.
I love the idea that the answer changes day, but the place you find it never will.
Never. And that's what I mean by the ego says, I'm never free and I'm always right.
Yeah.
And the soul says, I'm not always right, but I'm always free.
Well, it has no need to be right.
There's no need to be right. There is no such thing as right and wrong. It's like a tree doing something right or wrong. Right. It's just a fact of the world operating with all the things. So that's what we're talking about today.
That's what we do.
Do you have any
how we just
questions?
lean together at the same moment, like,
Yeah.
now.
We were just lying on the couch going, we should just turn the...
I have not. We haven't bathed. Martha's got a water situation. I just came from my parents' house. They had a water situation.
There's no clean water in our lives.
This is what we just look like.
Okay.
We got questions.
We're going to do questions this
Rose
way.
got
Rose going to do questions this way. Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Trisha Elliott.
It's so funny that you think I can see this or read it.
I know. We're both like... Okay, I can do
50
this.
years old,
I'm
Rose.
curious about the different voices. The voice of peace. Is it the same voice that responds when you write to love?
I think it is.
Or, yeah.
I think it is. I think it's exactly the same thing because it has the same impact. And some of you may know that I write letters to love and from love every day to myself. And a really, really easy way to do that, those of you who don't quite get what that process is, and this is, I think, from the Course in Miracles, which I'm sad to admit I've never done, but somebody taught me this.
It has a lot of things.
It has a lot of good things, but this is a really good, simple one. Every day, sit down with a notebook with your own hand and write these words. Ask this question of love. What would you have me know?
Mm-hmm.
What would you have me know today? And then let love answer. And I ask that question every single day. And it's so interesting.
Does it give different answers on different days?
I mean, you would think that it would just say generic platitudes like, you are beloved, no matter, you can fail. But sometimes it's very granularly specific.
Really?
Sometimes
like those sandals have got to go?
Yeah, something like, I would have you know that it's that you're only going to feel a lot better if you clean out your refrigerator today.
I love that.
It's sometimes
I love that.
very
That's
specific.
what peace does with me too. It's
And I'm like, oh, is that what I should? I guess that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Now. It's very weird, and it can be very generic platitudes too. But it'll say, I'll have you know that you don't need to actually do any work today, or I'll have you know. So ask that. Ask love. What would you have me know? And I think it's similar to what peace would say.
And I love that it breaks the rules. And there's no way, it's not fighting anything. It's just steering an individual course through the universe that cannot be opposed because it's completely individual. I love this. Okay, so Lori says,
how much do we love Martha, you guys?
What is your advice to women who still look for love outside of themselves for validation?
I've never done that, and certainly not recently.
No.
So I don't know.
Not ever.
God, I've never.
I
didn't look for love. What is this you say? What is this strange phenomenon?
I think Lori must be the only one.
Yeah, weird Lori. Yeah, I don't know.
We were just talking about this, how sometimes you need the feeling of someone's arms around you, and sometimes if you can just I think it's what you replay. We've got these little head things, and they can seize moments and make them last forever. And I bet we can all remember the moment when somebody said something horrible to us.
Yeah.
And that it impales us. You wrote about this in City of Girls.
Oh yeah, where she's stripped down.
Heroine is going through life and she's just fine. And then one guy says one thing and it's just like, ah!
Yeah.
And for years, that's all she remembers. Well, I believe in doing that with the moments when love takes you, when it takes you out of your trouble and your pain. And if you've gotten one good hug in your life, you can milk that. You can focus your mind on it for hours. And I was talking about this before we got on. I had one like mystical experience in my apartment in Cambridge, Massachusetts when I was 25. And I hung on to that for decades. I would sit and go into that moment and not leave. And I think
And just download that. Lori, I'm having a hit just to say this to you. What would it feel like right this minute for you to not think that there's something wrong with you, or that you're doing it wrong, or that you're bad because you've been looking outside of yourself for validation? Women are given a billion things to feel like they're doing wrong. And one of the things that we're often told is to not need that, to not want it, to not crave it, to not stay in it longer than you should. So it just becomes like another weapon against you to say that you shouldn't want love or validation from the outside. So my challenge to you today is to sit in this sensation of, to feel your innocence, to feel your absolute innocence for desiring that, for seeking it, for longing for it, and for not being at a place yet, or maybe ever, where you can generate that fully from within yourself. And I wonder, see, what happens when I do that? Because I have that story very much in my life. Serial monogamist, and needing a lot from other people and a lot from the outside. And being very sad when I don't get it, or don't get the amount of it that I want or feel that I need, and then feeling very ashamed of myself that why can't I just generate this myself? Why do I need anything from anybody? And then that becomes another layer of badness. And so just in keeping with this idea of abandoning the idea of your badness, how lovingly can you just hold, how lovingly can you tell that story of your life and your search for external validation, and tell it in such a way that you don't end up being bad, wrong, broken, or somehow incomplete. And this is the irony of doing that. If I say, actually, it's totally fine that I constantly look for validation outside of myself, then suddenly I find that I weirdly don't need as much.
Exactly.
But if I say that it's not okay, then I really need it. It's so strange. Does that make sense?
The reason you can you're always free, is that the moment you say, oh my gosh, I'm looking for validation outside myself, what does peace say? Peace says, oh honey, that's okay.
That's okay, you can.
That's okay. No
There's
worries.
nothing.
There's
nothing
no
wrong with you.
resistance in it.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, so you don't resist it. And then you find out, but I'm in horrible resistance. Well, that's okay. Don't resist your resistance. You can never resist something to death, but you can always take away resistance by not resisting the resistance. So we have another question that's the same thing. Oopsie, oopsie, oopsie. Hang on. Jen says, how do you clean up if you miss responding for peace and instead you contribute to the war? That's okay.
That's okay.
You just go. You're like, oh my God,
that
I
happened.
contributed to the war. And if you go to peace, or if you go to love, or if you go to the Great Mother and say, I contributed to the war, it always says, oh, honey, that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that happened.
Because the more, if you're, I contributed to the war, now I'm a horrible person, now I have to hate myself, that's more
Now
war.
I have to atone. Now
That's
I have
more
to, mercy seems
Retribution,
to be, mercy and
punishment.
peace and love seem to really be the answers to all of this.
And you could say them all as non-resistance too. I mean, there are times when I can't drum up a big, like you can access love and it's like, it's like a thunderstorm of love because you just have that. That's your personality. And I'm like, I'm much too tired to generate love. Liz has the general personality and bearing of a unicorn. I am like a three-toed sloth. I'm just like, oh, love, no. Maybe later. But I can always go to non-resistance. Like, I hate myself because I can't access love like Liz Gilbert. Well, that's okay. I don't have to resist that. Yeah, Donna says, how can you access the inner teaching during times of deep fear and anxiety, where meditation feels impossible, or when yelling from the outer world is too loud to silence?
I am going to say sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just can't.
Yeah.
And what would it be like, again, for you to sit in comfort with knowing that sometimes you will not be able to do it? Yeah. Sometimes you will not be able to be peaceful, and sometimes you will not be able to be loving, and sometimes you'll not be able to be kind. And what I do when I'm like that is I just put a pin in it, and I'm like, oh, I'm just completely in this.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of tools, and none of them are working, and I don't have any energy, and I'm just going to pick this up sometime later. and now I'm just going to be in this drama because apparently I'm just in this drama now, which also is weirdly relaxing.
Yeah.
Again, non-resistance.
It's always non-resistance. And I read this interesting concept. I've referred to this book like a million times, but this Tibetan woman named Mingyur Rinpoche.
I am reading his book now because you told me.
And what he talks about is living his whole life with just meditation and teaching and everything, because he was recognized as a lama when he was like years old. And then he says, we do this thing when we're too complacent called adding wood to the fire. Mm-hmm. And then he goes out to this filthy train station. He's like, whoa, 36 years of meditation. No good. I can't handle this. This is way too. And he says, that's okay. It's adding wood to the fire. So I actually think we're here to reach equilibrium, to access peace, to access love, and then lose it. There will always be another situation that comes up and says, guess what? This one's going to get you. Mm-hmm. When your energy's down, when you've lost someone or something, when you haven't had enough to eat, when your hormones are off, anything. As long as you're living in a body.
Yeah. It's still open for business, which means anything can have mercy for that. So as it's happening, be like, oh, this human being is really suffering. This human being being yourself. This human being is really suffering. This is a really hard one for her. I don't see how it's going to get any easier for the next few weeks, but boy, that's got to be hard. Like just some little tiny gesture of mercy and understanding, rather than, why can't you meditate? And like a true master, why can't you get on the other side of this right now? You sometimes can't.
It's like, this is really messed up. I'm in despair. I'm sobbing on the floor. And guess what? There's a little part of me going, well, that's okay.
It's okay.
So Melanie says, how do we balance this with actually needing to change some things in the world, like kids separated from families and detained in hideous places? This is why I brought up the thing where I went to be an expert witness, because Peace told me that day, go out and be the voice of one side in a very adversarial situation. And I was just sitting in this chair thinking, but what's true? What's peace? What's true? What's peace? I was so obsessed with following Peace through this adversarial situation that I showed up, and I think I did a good job as an expert witness, but I wasn't focused on the fight. So yeah,
Well, look at the great teachers of this. You're lucky enough to live in a time where in the last century we've had some of the greatest teachers of this who've ever lived, and we have records of how they did it. And you look at Mandela, and it's not like he was a peaceful Zen dude who just sat around in meditation. Every single day that he was in Robben's Island, he was filing petitions with the court. He was fighting apartheid and racial injustice every single day of his life without ever being destroyed by the fight.
Well, the thing is,
it doesn't mean be complacent.
The way he fought when he started as a young man in a very, very, very unjust situation, he fought like most people fight, with anger, he became a lawyer, he tried to work the system and get what was right to happen. Ultimately, he did, but this was after 27 years at Robben Island. He was forced into a way of fighting that, he was still filing petitions with the court, but at the same time, he learned Afrikaans, the language of his tormentors. He began making friends with some of the guards. There was a psychopathic guard that came in, and he just yelled at the guy. And his friends said, whoa, Nelson Mandela lost his crap. And he was like, no, that's just how he needs to be handled. Mm-hmm. So he was learning, but he came out of there a person of unbelievable inner peace. And then he invited some of the guards to his inauguration as president. And it was such a weird thing. Like he had his buddies from the people who'd been in prison with him, other Black leaders of the fight, they were there. And then some of the guards from the prison were there. That's the thing about stepping through life according to love and peace instead of resistance. There are no absolutes, and there's no one rule that covers everyone. Mm-hmm. There's always just the freedom to find mercy, find peace, find the Great Mother, and whatever, and go, and now what weird combination of things do you want me to do?
The next question, what would you have me know? And then what would you have me do? And you may be down in Texas on the border working with these families. It's like
I donated money.
You'll be told. You'll be told.
You will be told.
You'll be told.
So what is, if you, we're at the half hour, so I was going to ask you, if you were to do that now, because you practiced, it takes practice going inside. I had to spend a lot of time on, if you go in right now, not even at the beginning of the day, but right now, if we all go in right now, wherever we are, find peace, find love, find mercy, and say, what would you have me know? What would you have me do? I got, you can't answer everybody's questions today. Not because it's today, but just it's not possible to satisfy or answer or help everybody today. And then that was what I would have you know. And what I would have you do is keep answering everybody's questions. That was it. It was like, you know that you can't, you know that you can't. Because I'm like, oh, we only have a half an hour and I want to help everybody. So love was like, well, you know, you can't actually help everybody. And what I would have you do is keep helping everybody. I got something weirdly similar. Well, it was nonverbal. It was a feeling of a hand being gently placed over my heart and this comfort being radiated in. And then it said, let everyone know that this same hand is holding them. The same love. Like, tell everybody to feel for the hand of comfort over the heart, and because it's there for all of them. Maybe I made it up. It works for me.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We could be making it all.
It doesn't matter.
You're not even here.
I'm just
a
fig Newton of your imagination.
So to all our lovely fig Newtons of the imagination, and Roey's here in the room sending lots of love.
Love.
And
can I just add one thing?
I wish you would.
It's in response to a conversation I'm seeing happening about somebody whose father is dying, and she's feeling mercy toward him for his death, but he's very abusive and has a lot of anger about that. And I just don't want ever to have any of you use the idea of mercy as another thing to beat yourself up with that you're not doing well enough. I just want you to just be on guard for every moment where you think you're failing and not doing well enough. And if you use I should be merciful and compassionate as just another bludgeon,
another rule
to hurt yourself with, that's actually not mercy. And mercy that does not include the self is not mercy. So all of you who are here, you're here because you're the kind of people who want to practice universal human compassion. Universal human compassion that does not include the self is not universal. So that's the mistake that women typically make.
Men do too.
Yeah.
I must say, I know a lot of men who get into these same mental traps.
Okay,
so
good. I won't gender it. I won't gender it. But it's. I do want to say to the woman whose father is dying and she wants to feel more compassion for him, but feels anger at the same time. Open up your circle of mercy so that it includes you, so that you can tend to your own suffering about how painful it is to have those feelings, without needing to punish the human being that you are by making her not have those feelings. Does that make sense? So it's start here at home with, God, this is a hard situation. Yeah. My father was so abusive. This is so painful. I do feel compassion for his pain. I want to be more than I am. Mercy for that one. Mercy for that one first, and then open up the circle of mercy into that.
And here's what I find is the big paradox. When you say, right in this moment, I freaking hate that SOB. And then you come in and say, well, honey, that's okay. We can hold that. Immediately, the one that came in to say it's okay, we can hold that, has compassion for the father as well.
Both.
That's how you access it. It's both. You don't give yourself license to do everything, but you do give yourself the freedom to be okay no matter what's going on inside you. You're always okay. It's okay. It's all okay.
It's okay. You can feel all of the.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Liz, for joining us. It's so good to be here.
You guys know that I get to come to Marty's house and play.
We all do. We all get to come to the gathering room and play. It's wondrous.
I love you all.
Bye. See you next week.
Mercy on you.
Bye.